I thought the dolls in the dollhouse might enjoy a snack of some tortilla chips this week. So stay tuned and see how just easy these are to make. Alright, the first step in making the tortilla chip is to look at a real one, because we need to look at shape, and mainly we need to look at color at this stage. And I mixed some clay up ahead of time because this took a while. Because what I did, I started with my mixture of half white, half translucent that I use on a lot of food. This is where I start for most foods. Then I added some Fimo Classic Gold Yellow. I made a pale yellow, so it needed to be warmed up a bit. I added some yellow ochre. And when I'm talking I'm adding colors, I'm adding little teeny, the tiniest little crumb of color and working it through. It was still too light, so I added some of this dark brown. Now this could be terracotta or it could be chocolate. I'm not sure because the packaging is the same. Then it was too dark. So I added more of the white translucent mixture and then more of the yellow, the gold yellow and the yellow ochre. And I went back and forth until I had a mixture that came out just about the same color as the background color on my chip. So I'm happy with this. This is a good color. Now, the other thing we notice about tortilla chips, and remember, tortilla chips are different colors. If you get a white corn tortilla chip, if you get a more golden color, different brands and different styles of tortilla chips are different colors. So have one on hand. Mix to match your tortilla chip. But there's always brown flecks. So to make the brown flecks, we are going to take our clay and we are going to use some brown sand. And first I need to run my clay through my pasta machine again because it's been sitting here for a few minutes. I mixed it up, then I had some things I had to do. Alright, so we're going to dip it into our brown sand. And it's not going to take a lot. I usually dip it in and kind of coat it. And that's usually plenty. But it makes a big difference. If you don't do that, it's not going to look right. And I really can't think of a substitution for the brown sand because you need something that's that texture that isn't going to blend into your clay. And we're just going to mix this through with our fingers. We're going to twist and shape and get this mixed through until we have these little brown flecks that are running all through our clay. And look, it looks a lot more like a tortilla chip. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. Let's see if I can get down closer. Let's see how close I can get and still be in focus. It's not a perfect match on color, but it's pretty close. See how that gives you the impression of a tortilla chip. Let me wipe the sand off my board and I will continue. Okay, so the sand is now kind of wiped up. Now you have to roll this out. You've got a couple of choices. You can either use an acrylic roller like this, and that works fine. Or you can use your pasta machine. One thing I will warn you, I have been making tortilla chips and the nachos that I make out of them for a long time. The tortilla chips were really one of the first things I kind of came up with on my own because I couldn't find any I really liked. That was about 10 or 15 years before anybody said, hey, you really shouldn't run sand through your pasta machine. I will say I've been doing this for 15 or 20 years at this, probably 20 more years with my pasta machine, and I don't have any scratches on mine from doing this or from anything else I've run through it. But mine is a regular pasta machine. It was really expensive when it was purchased, and I decided to dedicate it to clay. If you've got a cheap clay rolling machine like they sell at the craft store, then I definitely would not run this through there. If you don't want to take a chance on your pasta machine, use your acrylic roller. You will need some cornstarch. We're going to need the cornstarch anyway here in a moment. Do what you're comfortable with. I'm running it through my pasta machine today, just like I always do and I always have. So if it's, you know, I'm not too worried about it scratching this one. Now I'm going through to, mine has 6 settings, one being the thickest. 6 being the thinnest. I go down to setting number 5. That's as far as I go down. Because I find if I try to do number 6, it just, with any clay, it just sticks. Now, we are not going to use all of this at once. I'm only going to use part of it. I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to put this piece away. In fact, I'm not even going to use all of this. I'm going to use a small piece. I like to work in small batches. Now I've got some wax paper. And I am going to put cornstarch on my wax paper. I don't want this to stick. And it will want to stick, because what we are going to do is we're going to put this in here, and we're now going to run this sandwich of 2 layers of wax paper and the layer of, and I made this too wide to get in my pasta machine. Just got a lot full of cornstarch. Did that go through? No, not yet. I just tore off a chunk when I was in the kitchen and I didn't measure. And we're going to roll that through the pasta machine. And now we're going to go down to number 6, because since it's not actually contacting the rollers, it's not going to stick to them. Now, we'll pull this off. And now it's as thin as I can physically get it. Now I've got a clay cutter. This is approximately a 1/2 inch, because tortilla chips are generally made out of corn tortillas that are about 6 inches across. So a 1/2 inch, one of these, equals 6 inches. And this is approximately a 1/2 inch. And it's okay if these tear. And we're going to cut some, and then we are going to use our one of my dental picks. And I'm going to pick this up off of here. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Tortilla chips are never perfect. Pull these off onto our tile. And hopefully this will peel off the paper. And yeah, this is kind of a fiddly project. These take, that's why I charge $15 for a nacho when I sell them. Because it takes a long time to make enough tortilla chips to make a display. Making them in real life is a lot quicker. But they turn out so cool. I love how these look. They're one of my favorite things to do as far as getting them accomplished and being able to say, yeah, that turned out really well. And it's okay if they tear like this, that's fine. We're going to flatten that back out. Ah, that one we're not. That one's too far gone. Now, we are going to cut each of these circles. Make sure I'm in the camera. Let's see if I can get down a little closer. I think last week's video with the waffles, I was not very close to what I was doing. I don't know how well everybody could see it. There. Now, cut. And I like to cut them each circle into 8. Now each of these borders we need to cut again. We're not done yet. And I have tried doing these, making shortcuts for doing this, and it just, for me, it wasn't worth it. A paper plate, because these definitely want to be baked on a paper plate. You don't want to do these on a hard surface like a tile. And by the time you mess with these a few times, those two do not want to get apart, and don't let them drop flat. You want them to kind of curl. Let's see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I put them on the plate. Kind of just don't let them be perfectly flat when they land on this plate. I don't want on my finger. So let's back up a little bit so you can see more of what I'm doing. Kind of use your finger, kind of curl them up. Use your fingers. You don't want them all. That one came up. See how is the camera picking that up? That one, as I picked it up, it curled a little bit. Perfect. This one didn't, so I'm going to try and curl it as I set it down. I can always use my fingers to curl it if I need to. So that's one tortilla worth of chips. Let's cut another one. Again, cut the circle into 8 wedges. And they don't have to be even. And I have tried doing these all different ways. I've tried to make shortcuts, and I was never happy when I made shortcuts. They just, to me, let's see if I can get it into the camera. See there, when I pick that one up, now let's flick it onto my plate. I'll show you these when I get them on the plate. Oh, that one's going to be really cool. That one's got a good shape to it. This one's already cupped, so that's pretty cool. But you can use these in a display. You can make a bowl of chips. You can make some salsa to go with it. You could do like I do and make nachos with them. This one's kind of crazy shaped. That's okay. Yeah, blade's upside down. That's why it's not cutting. This last batch of blades I bought, for some reason keep picking it up upside down. Luckily I haven't cut myself with it. They're not as sharp as the old ones I used to have when I got them, so I'm not cutting myself, but I keep picking it up and it's not cutting the clay. There. So this is going to be a process. Usually I'll do a few of them, then I'll go do something else, and then I'll come back and I'll do more tortilla chips, because this is not something you can sit and do for, you know, a long time. First time I did these, I was in a swap group and I made, oh gosh, I don't know how many. There was like 15 people in the swap. And I was making tortilla chips for hours. It was not a fun day. But they turned out so good that I had to do them. Now, just on a side note, say you want to do some taco shells. You've got this same cut shell, cut tortilla. Just put it over a toothpick. And leave the toothpick in when you bake it. And you'll have a taco shell, which is pretty cool. That looks pretty cool too. So I will make some more tortilla chips and maybe even a few more taco shells, and I'll show you when they get all baked. And by the way, these only bake for no more than 5 minutes. These are so thin, you don't want to go more than 5 minutes on them or they will burn. So I'll be back in a minute. So they're all baked off now, and we have a bunch of tortilla chips for the dolls in the dollhouse to enjoy. Let's see if I can kind of zoom in here. Oops, wrong way. I think you can see if that will focus. No, it won't. Okay. But they're a little fiddly and they take a while, but they're so worth it. Oh, and I made 2 taco shells. Let's see if I can get those over here into camera range. You can fill those however you want. I'll probably come back and do some tacos one of these days. That's on my list of things to do. But those are tortilla chips. They're that easy and that time consuming. But I think the dolls in your dollhouse will enjoy them for all those football parties and just snacking around in front of the TV. So be sure and let me know if there's something you want to see me make. Check out the blog for more details about this video and any other videos. If you haven't found us on Facebook, be sure to do that. And I do currently have at least 1 or 2 of the nachos on my Etsy shop, so if you don't want to try and make them yourself and you want to buy a nacho, they're over there for you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.